Okay. Oh, hell. And we're live on Resonant Essentials, the group, Facebook group, and we are welcoming today Brian Kurtz. Good morning, Brian.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you for coming. I'm so excited to have you.
Grateful to be here.
So you moved and you got here in Albuquerque.
Yeah, I moved from Austin April 1st and have loved it here. I mean, I was here 4 years ago doing workshops and classes and fell in love with the area then and have just been trying to figure a way back ever since. And last December came in the middle of a really cold front and said, you know, this is actually really nice. I love it here. I love the mountains. I love the people. I don't know. There's just nothing about New Mexico that I don't like. Well, maybe the traffic. The traffic drives a little crazy here, even compared to Austin where I was. But in Austin, it was all bumper to bumper all day. So it's not really that big a deal. But traffic does flow here, so it's good. No, I love Albuquerque. Seriously, I love Albuquerque. I love the people here. I love the atmosphere here. I love the music and art scene here. I love the holistic scene here. And it was just a pure miracle I found you guys. It was such a synchronicity that I found Resonant Essentials, and just grateful to be a part of the team. Feels great already.
We love having you. So excited. Poor Brian had to tolerate my frustration with Max yesterday because Max has been a little whiny, so very gracious and still kept working. So thank you, Brian.
Hey, no problem. Max and I will get along eventually. I'm a dog person. If you're familiar with the Rosie and Luna story already, you know, I mean, the first time I walked in, Luna walked up to me and Rosie kind of freaked out. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe Luna just walked up to you. It's like, well, I'm a dog guy, you know, no problem. Dogs love me. It's like, yeah, but you don't understand. This is Luna and you're a male, and she just doesn't do that. It's like, okay. So it was just one of those another one of those little magical things. Max hasn't come around yet, but he will eventually. It's all good. He's just being protective.
He's been traumatized, but anyway.
He's just doing the best he can.
I have to say, we're gonna start off with your telling everybody about your work as a practitioner, and I'm going to qualify it before you start in, because I want people to feel free to ask questions, but I'm going to tell my story of my experience with you first.
Okay, feel free. That was fun.
Okay. So if you guys have any questions, please put them in the comments, and I will be checking periodically to see if you have what the questions are. So Brian came in and he sat down. He goes, I want to become a practitioner. I'm interested in your center. I love this space. He kind of viewed everything. We talked a little bit about it. I said, well, if you want to become a practitioner, you have to do an interview, which includes a portion of your work, because I need to know that you're actually the real deal, because I've been shenaniganed before. Yeah, it was a very valuable lesson not to have practitioners in the center that couldn't do their work. So what ended up happening was, as you came in for the session, you said, I can do it sitting or laying. I said, oh, are you kidding? I'm going to lay down on the table because I don't have a chance to just in the middle of the day lay down and rest myself. And I've been having some eye problems. And so the first thing you did, you didn't go to my eye, which you already knew I was having problems with. You go, acid reflux or hernia? And I said, both. So that was the beginning of my, he's not too bad if he can figure it out. Then he went on, I won't go into all the details, all the gory details of Michelle's 63-year-old body, but you know, there you go.
I found all the stuff you wanted me to find and then all the stuff you didn't want me to find, but you know, you asked, yeah. So.
Yeah, right. You know what? I don't need to know. If you can find the hiatal hernia, then we're good.
There you go.
but the eye was really bothering me. And I was due to go into the eye doctor because I thought I had torn my retina. And I was due to go into the eye doctor. Let's see, you came in on a Tuesday, so it was
I came in on a Wednesday.
So it was the
Yeah.
next day. So it was Friday that I had the appointment. So I go into the eye doctor and I had quit seeing the split screen in my eye, and there was no more lightning flash, which was really a relief, because even at that point, I'm still having a problem with the floaters, and we've talked about that one. But when I went in, she goes, "No, you didn't tear anything." And I'm like, "Okay, great." But I said I'd had some energy work done with this guy. And she goes, "Wow, good for you. Maybe it worked." Because I never want to say you probably didn't have this.
Right.
Now that I was looking at a split screen from my eye, there was definitely a line. There was definitely a doorway I was peeking through. And at night, I could see the lightning flash. But, I didn't have to have surgery. I didn't have to have the laser burn. I'm good. I don't have to lay down for 2 or 3 days. Again, all good things. So thank you. What else do you work on?
There's really not a whole lot I can't work on physically, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, anything, because I'm not the one doing the work. I mean, my modality is called the Healed by Spirit modality. It's not the Healed by Brian modality. And I started getting downloads on how to do healing work at a graduate internship back in school in June of 1984.
What school?
Say again?
What school?
Oh, it was a summer camp. I was going to graduate school at North Texas State at the time. Now it's University of North Texas, working on my master's degree in outdoor recreation. And I was there. I had brought a few books with me, and 2 days into arriving there at my internship, I got these downloads, and I told the buddy I was sharing a cabin with, "Hey, this is going to sound really weird, but I think I just got like a vision on how to heal people's pain." He said, "Well, I got a headache. Let's see if it works." His dad was a PhD parapsychologist, so he had grown up with all of this stuff. It was not new to him at all. And
perfect timing.
Perfect timing. So he had
so
he had a headache, and I worked on his headache, and his headache went away. And then that night, another guy came in. He had a migraine. He's like, "Oh man, I got a migraine." And well, Brian worked on my headache this afternoon. Let's see if it'll help your migraine. And his migraine went away. And that summer, I worked on about 200 people, and all but 2 people got a positive result. And the 2 people who didn't, one guy had been drunk on his night off, and he wanted me to save him. And the other one was a camp director's wife who thought the whole thing was a joke anyway. Everybody else got magnificent results all summer. And I've just been continuing to receive the information. I go into this zone and I say, "Okay, show me what I need to see. Show me the visualization and the hand gestures and whatever I need to do to move the energy around." And it works. And there's nothing I can't work on because I'm not the one doing the work. So I mean,
I'm like an Italian.
Right, exactly. Or I grew up Jewish in Cajun country. It's the same thing.
No, I mean, when I was watching you do your hand.
Oh yeah, no, the Jewish thing is the same thing. We talk with our hands. There's a lot of story and a lot of all of that anyway. But
that was happening because I was like looking at you going, "You must be Italian."
Yeah, but there's really nothing. There's really nothing that can't be worked on. And as my work's evolved, there's so much more that I can do and work with. Like I've been doing my healing work since June of 84. I dedicated my life to it in November of 2010. And after a couple of years of doing it, I realized there was this formula. There were these steps I was going through to make it happen. And so I figured if it's a formula, I could teach it. So I spent all of 2013 developing what's now called my level 1 healers class. And that 4-part class, the first part is how does it work? The second part is generating the sacred space in which the healing happens. And I realized after spending an entire year basically receiving downloads at a 24-hour coffee shop in Austin, where I just went and just started automatically typing and stuff would hit the page, and distilled 150 pages of notes into the class. The second part of the class is generating the sacred space in which all the connection happens, in which the healing happens. That became what I call Soul Connection Workshop. It could be its own thing. After 5 years of presenting healers classes, I realized, okay, I got to expand this. So I developed a master class, which is 24 sessions every other week. And out of that master class came a chakra series, because there were, 7 chakras and another module just to tie it all together. That became a chakra series. And out of the chakra series came a series of chakra meditations, which I now make available. So all of this stuff is an evolution that's taken me farther and farther along. Then there was a conversation that developed before all healing sessions, before soul connection workshops, any interaction I have with a client, I have this thing I call the real you conversation. And the real you is basically when your brain is moving 1,000 miles an hour, that thing that steps back and can notice your brain moving 1,000 miles an hour, that thing that's in stillness, watching your brain moving 1,000 miles an hour, that's what I call the real you. And I've developed an entire counseling modality around the real you principles. And people are telling me that 4 or 5 sessions with me is like 5 years worth of traditional talk therapy, because I don't just listen for 55 minutes and then drop a nugget in the last 5 minutes and let you be with that for a couple of weeks. I work with people, anything I hear them say, do, whatever story they relate, I'll invite them to apply these real you principles that we cover first, of course. But then all of the counseling work is around noticing what they can notice what's coming up for them, notice what the stories about certain events or people, circumstances might be. And the essence of the teaching is, if you're noticing your brain chatter, it can teach you something. If you notice your body, what's going on in your body, what I'll call bioenergetics of that can teach you something. And if you can notice what's going on around you, that can teach you something. At that point, it's actual self-help. Like in the self-help industry is this industry that's really not self-help. It's, you need something, I have it, let me give it to you so you'll have what you really need. The nature of real self-help is you help yourself, but you have to know how to do that. So the real you conversation is all about giving people a structured way of looking at things that allows them to actually help themselves.
Well, some of our greatest moments are those epiphanies that we have.
Exactly.
To us by others.
And so there's this stuff floating around in the ether that we have access to, and we can have an epiphany that seems to happen in an instant, but it may take years of self-preparation to be an open enough vessel to receive the epiphany. And so I'm supporting people in just getting through whatever they've got going mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically. Like, I have this group of people I work on every morning on real chronic stuff. I call them my morning list people. Like before I took this call, I was on my morning list people, usually from about 6:30 until 8:30 or 9. But the folks I'm working with, they are chronic, like chronic knee issues, chronic back issues.
So why is the chronic not moving?
The chronic is moving when I start working with it. And that's the beauty of it. But generally when people have chronic stuff, the body, this is Brian's opinion.
That's what I want to know.
The body is a reflection of your spiritual emotional makeup.
Right.
We are spirit beings occupying physical space. So the physical space our body occupies will present certain symptoms physically that are directly related to whatever spiritual emotional stuff we have going on. Like, we know about the chakra system and the various life aspects that are associated with the chakra system, and who can we be about that? Well, in Judaic culture, they have the same thing, except they call it the Kabbalah. Kabbalah means the receiving. It's a Gnostic knowing, gnosis, if you're familiar with that term, well, the inner knowing. And it's the same life aspects, the same philosophy, the same ways of being, but it all comes down to who you're being about something now, something in your past, who you're being about something that maybe that you're concerned about in your future. All of that energetically shows up in your body.
Well,
so
I tell this to people a lot, is that, Jesus was the healing Christ consciousness. So,
yes.
Buddha knows man. Jesus healed. Why didn't he heal the masses as they all sat during one of his talks? Well, because a lot of us are not ready to let.
Exactly. Exactly.
our stuff. So in a nutshell, what you're saying is the same thing. You're saying it's chronic because we want to own it, and we're owning the condition that created it. And there's only so much a person can do as a healer if we're not ready to let it go.
Exactly. And that's where stuff like the Real You conversation comes in. It's literally preparing people to be with, accept, and release whatever's going on with them. And my morning, go ahead, I'm sorry.
So Edgar Casey explained to people in the book Many Mansions by Gina Saramanera, explained that when he did his trance work and he gave these people their healings, sometimes the condition, we have balanced it out. We have learned to rest. And now that we're at this great awakening, what I'm hearing you say is that the work that you're doing and the classes that you're providing is for people who are ready to make that leap into higher consciousness in order to let go of conditions that no longer serve them, whether they be mental, emotional, physical, spiritual.
Exactly. And the beauty of it is it's all already in us. Like the knowledge we need, we have access to. Like Jesus said, where the heart is, there the treasure lies also. Because your heart knows. I mean, there are these 40,000 little cells in the heart gut neural network called sensory neurites, not neurons, but sensory neurites. If you're familiar with physiology, 40,000 cells in a body that has 30 billion cells. We're not talking about a lot of space. We're talking about something that's that big, right? But that little bit is what ties us and gives us expression here in this physical realm from the spiritual realm. So
I'm gonna sit on your hands.
Feel free, but the point is that's what we have access to. Okay. We literally have access to that. And so my job is to support people in being in the awareness, not that they have, but the awareness that they are, so that they can receive that. And
I agree.
That's the name of the game. I mean, I can do what I do and people get better, but to stay better, they need to be working on who they are, who they're being, what's up in their lives, and process through it. And I'll support them in processing through whatever that is.
So to go a little step further, you're going to be there at Resonant Essentials on Wednesdays, but you're sending me a list of, we made some dates, and so you have an upcoming workshop in November, the first weekend in November.
Yes, the first weekend in November and the first weekend in December. Saturday morning will be what I call Soul Connection Workshop for individuals.
Now tell us about that.
Okay, so the Soul Connection Workshop series came out of my Level 1 Healers class. It's all about generating that sacred connection. You've heard the words namaste. Namaste basically means the divine light in me can see the divine light in you.
Right.
What no one talks about is I have to be in that space of being aware of the divine light in me before I can see the divine light in you. And the next thing that no one ever talks about is if I'm in that place, standing in my divine light, witnessing the divine light in you, I will catalyze that awakening in you that allows you to touch your own divinity and your divine light. So what Soul Connection Workshop is about is connecting people at a level and giving them tools to connect at that level anytime, anywhere with anybody. And with practice, they can connect in the time it takes them to inhale and exhale. They can connect deeply with someone else.
Do they have to know or bring their person to connect with, is this who shows up? You can work with them. I'll work
with whoever shows up. I encourage them to bring a friend because it'll be easier. I mean, some of what happens, it's not for the faint of heart. It's, it's fun, it's rewarding, but we go deep and it's all about connecting in that place that all of our stuff is in that place and all of our beauty is in that place. So it's about being aware of all of it so you can work through your stuff. And I literally give people a chance to work through their stuff in the workshop with someone they may never have met. It's very vulnerable. It's also a very confidential and safe space that we all agree to before we start. And by the end, I give people tools on how to literally generate that sacred space so that they can connect more deeply with anybody. They could apply it to a sales call. They could apply it to something going on with their family or a spouse or a friend or a business colleague or anything. Like it can apply to an email, a phone call, a Zoom call, a face-to-face meeting. It's all about connecting more deeply at that soul level. And there's a
Okay,
workshop for
so
individuals.
how long does that workshop?
It's 2 hours, sometimes as long as 2.5, depending on how long I feel like talking in the middle of it. But you know me.
At
right?
least you're honest.
I'm honest. So there's Saturday morning, there'll be a workshop for individuals. Saturday afternoon, there'll be a workshop for couples in any stage of relationship.
Now, is that the same? Is that the same?
It's the same
course?
basic. It's the same basic workshop, but we change the context of the prompts of the speaking and engaging, the speaking and listening, to be about couples as opposed to individuals. And then Sunday afternoon of that same first weekend, 2 to 5 or 2 to 4, we'll have a family version for parents and their kids to connect more deeply. And it's been interesting. I'll say I like kids no younger than 8, but I've had 8-year-olds blow their parents away with what comes through them for their parents in this Soul Connection workshop. So the workshop series is really great for anybody. There's also one for business. I'll do private work with businesses to help them with their staff, but it's all about connecting more deeply at soul level, where all of your beauty is, where all of your stuff is. There's a guy that I've followed for years who turns out to be here in Albuquerque, Father Richard Rohr. He's a Benedictine monk. And one of his things is, I quote him in my healers classes and workshops. He says that when we're vulnerable and transparent, we're giving God something to work with. Now, he doesn't mean like God, some old gray-haired dude up in the sky, right? We're
throwing thunderbolts.
Right. Like or either thunderbolts or a beauty or, reward or punishment. None of that. No, it's the spirit that just is, that sources everything. When we're vulnerable and transparent, we're peeling away the layers that prevent us from connecting. And then we can have that, as he calls it, coming through us as us for whoever's in front of us.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Because I understand the individual. Me and Matt, we act on a soul level.
Yes, absolutely. I've witnessed it.
However, when it comes to couples, oftentimes couples do not seek this out until they feel the relationship is in trouble.
Right.
So my opinion on that is, why wait?
Yeah.
While the relationship is in trouble? Why not learn that to re-fall in love? I had a very dear friend who went through an emotional time with her husband, and she told me, she said she fell back in love with him again.
Yeah. When you connect at that level.
Yeah, it had been years since they had allowed that vulnerability they had gotten used to the routine.
And that's the nature of all of us.
Right. But the routine did not warrant a bad relationship, is what I'm trying to say. They just comfortable. So at any stage of the relationship, whether in a new one, you're suggesting or saying that this would be a really good thing for couples of all levels at all ages.
Absolutely. And the beauty of it is, I've done workshops. I did one workshop many years ago. We're talking, 7, 8 years ago, where I had a couple that had dated 3 weeks. The guy had brought his girlfriend there because he had done my healers class and knew what was about to happen. He knew the Soul Connection workshop, having done the healers class. So we got one couple there that's been together about 3 weeks, and they just want to improve their connection. Then there was a couple also in the room that had been married for 25 years. And they were there to, they thought, fix their relationship, which they knew to be broken. But there was a lot of vulnerability and stuff that they had not discussed. So by the time we were done with the workshop, The brand new couple was laughing and just practically falling out of their chair because they were connecting so deeply. They were finishing each other's sentences, and it was gorgeous. Then the couple that had been together 25 years had this look on their face. They knew that their relationship had not worked, but the reason it hadn't worked was he was gay and he needed to come out. So they were able, in this beautiful sacred space that we created, they were able to look each other in the eye and say, we love each other, but we're not supposed to be together. You need to go find a guy. And they were literally able to end their marriage in this beautiful, clean space. 6 months later, he's found the guy of his dreams. He came out of the closet. She supported him. They still work together. She has a restaurant and he helps promote her restaurant, and their daughter still works with him. I mean, it was beautiful.
You know, if people can end a relationship on a good note, people didn't understand that I would invite my daughter's father over for, my kid's father over for Christmas.
Yeah.
There's really no reason to argue because the relationship is over.
Exactly. And not only not argue, but to have the beauty, they had more beauty and light and love in their relationship after that workshop apart than they had when they were together.
Because there were, the conflict, the fears, all of that dissipates.
Exactly. And in that scared, frightened place, they'd put up walls that prevented the connection. Once those walls came down, they were able to interact in a much more powerful, vulnerable, beautiful way. The love was able to blossom more than it had in years. And he was able to go find the guy he's in love with. They've now been married for several years. She's found a guy that she's happy with, who's happy with her. Everybody wins. But the point is, we build up walls as a protection mechanism and some compensatory behavior. When all of that stuff falls away, what's left is who you really are.
Okay.
And that's the beauty of it. We get to be most who we are.
So let me ask you this. If, say, somebody takes the class, as a couple,
Yes.
and they learn this deep connection,
Yes.
why can't they take it home to their families? Why do a family class? I'm going to give you.
You can bring that tool, you can bring that level of connection to the family, and of course they can, because the tool that I'm talking about applies to blessing your food, blessing each other, blessing every phone call and interaction. You don't need to do that if you've done the couples version. You don't need to bring it to your family, but you can. And when you do the workshop as a family, then everybody's tuning in, working on going through the process. So then instead of just talking about it, if you know what I mean, just talking about it, then you get to really be it together and bring that together. And I can tell you, most 8-year-old, 9-year-old kids together, to bring them together now, those kids are born lit up. The kids of today's generations are just born ready to bring it. And they don't always have the tools.
I have to say that I think that we were all born.
Yes, but it seems to be more obvious to me when I'm looking at little kids. They're just born lit up.
Because you've let go of those Piscean thought processes and suppressions. But there are still many people who take the gift of spirit away from their children and that knowledge by bringing them into a more dogmatic life. You must work hard for your money. You must do this for this. And they march them through because they don't know a different way of being. And that's what I'm hearing you say, is you want to reach the people who are ready to break out of that paradigm into higher states of being. So when the kids come in and they hit the ground, they're loved through a much more supportive endeavor.
Exactly. So when parents can do the workshop, then they bring their kids in and the kids do the workshop with them. What ends up coming out of the kids' mouths benefits not only the kid hearing what he or she is saying, but the parents get to hear that wisdom come through their kid. And it's a huge moment for the parents, not just a proud moment that they can witness their kids' wisdom, but they get to partake of their kids' wisdom, because the simplicity, the purity, the vulnerability, the richness that comes through kids for their parents is a beautiful thing. So that it's always great to watch parents who've done the couples workshop bring their kid in and do the family workshop, because then everybody in the family is just lit up and they go from talking to their kids about it or bringing that light in to the family and having their kids radiate it back out. It's a beautiful thing.
So, people getting to know you, because we're doing an interview, I'm going to check in if there's any questions. I see Johanna, she's commented, wow, what powerful stories. Thank you, Johanna.
Thanks, Johanna.
What I want to let people know is you're going to be at the psychic fair.
Yes, this Sunday, right?
This Sunday. So you'll have some information on the brochures. We're going to have some memes and stuff that I need to make up. We're going to be doing a lot of these things of getting people together, but you're going to be at the psychic fair. Are you going to be doing assessments for people or some way of, will you be able to know? And I probably know, I know the answer, but I'm going to let you say it.
Sure.
When you're doing the assessments, can you sense when somebody is needing the individual, like our hearts sometimes get so shut down with everyday life, with grief of losing someone, with the different things.
Just living life in a world that is kind of messy, you know?
Sure. So will you be, when you're doing the assessments, you'll be doing it on the mind, body, spirit, mental, emotional, physical?
All of it. All of it.
Okay.
And the thing is, generally when I do a fair, there's so much going on. I'm not able to focus as well as I'd like to. I'll have a conversation with people. I'll feel into them a little bit. We'll have a conversation. I'm not going to be doing sessions per se,
Right.
but I'll invite people to come back and let's talk on the phone and let's connect. Because when I'm connecting at soul level, it doesn't matter if I'm on a phone call, if someone's in front of me. I mean, we just connect. So I generally encourage people to come over, say hi, let's feel into each other a little bit, see how that feels. And then if you want to do some work together, we do some work together. But
depending on how the setup is for the center this weekend,
yes,
we're on limited space.
I understand.
We may be able to have you if people need it, if they're, you know, like if they're from out of town or whatnot.
Right.
We may have some space in the back where you can maybe do a quick session in the meditation room.
I'll be glad to, you know, I mean, like when
no
you and I,
promises until I know how the light is going to be.
right. But given it's a fair, given that you've got practitioners in the space and the energy that we're all going to be bringing actually enhances the likelihood of more getting done in less time. One of the things I love about getting other practitioners together is when we're all aligned. And that's one of the things I love about Resonant Essentials, that everybody is aligned. Like you can feel that when you walk into the center.
We have a terrific team building. Wait until you meet Phoenix. Oh my gosh.
Can't wait. I'm looking forward to it.
Amazing.
Looking forward to it. But
we're just blessed.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of it, is that space is going to be rocking on Sunday, because everyone's there is going to be there for one reason, one purpose, and that's to open up, get clear, serve, be blessed. I mean, everyone's there for that same thing. So there's alignment. And when that alignment happens, I would normally say what normally takes half an hour happens in 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
Thing.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Generally at a fair, I just want to meet people, connect, and then let's get together, you know, afterward. But if we've got time, I have no problem doing a session there. You know,
well, I don't mean a session. I mean,
but like 5 or 10
minutes. A little bit more in depth.
Right. 5 or 10 minutes to connect more deeply, see what's up. Like, you know, when I did my quote unquote audition healing session with you, it's like I walked in and immediately my body was saying, okay, this is the area that you need to work on first. And like, okay, I mean, how long did that take? 5 seconds? And I said, okay, here's this thing that's going on. It's like, yeah, all right, okay.
Well, and the thing is that it's, you know, I want people to know that come with an open heart, that emotion and that everything is being, it's okay to be open and vulnerable. You don't have to try to hide so many times we try to hide our aches and pains and our frustration, our sorrows, so that we can make it through the day.
Right.
You know,
But how much easier is it to make it through the day if you're free of that stuff you've been carrying around through your day? Right?
exactly my
And
point.
it's probably 70% of my clients are women, because women are open to that. Men are like, oh, I'm all right. Yeah. And, but in being that, they're preventing their own wellness.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Here, let's
Sure.
some physical ailments here.
Yes, pick one.
Because what we got, well, I've got you on the hook.
Yes.
Get away from me. So
Yes.
Somebody come in and they've been through car accident after bad accident after bad accident.
Yep.
Can you help them realign their body so that the aches?
Absolutely. Absolutely. In fact, I've had people, there was one client, keep in mind, a lot of this stuff is energy related. Like one of my clients' husband lost his job in the high tech sector, and they had 3 kids in college, and suddenly he's lost his $100,000 a year job. She was in utter survival mode. She walks out to her car, a couple mornings after he lost his job, and there's that little 2-inch lip as you walk into your garage, that little lip that goes down to the flat area where the cars are. She tripped on that and broke the heck out of her ankle. Compound fracture of her right ankle, right?
Oh.
She goes to the doctor, and the doctor says you're going to need plates and screws and pins, and it'll be in your ankle the rest of your life, and you're going to have limited motion, but it'll be solid and you'll be fine. She says, I'm calling Brian. She already knew me. We had already done work together. She had done my class. She'd done my workshops. She and her husband had done my workshop. She actually hosted a workshop. So when this happened and the doctor told her that, she said, She called me up. We did 2 90-minute sessions. After the first session, her swelling in her ankle went down and the pain was almost completely gone. The second session, a few days later, the bones literally went back into alignment. And all she needed at that point was a boot for 3 weeks. And the doctor was like, I don't know what you did or how that happened, but you're like, you don't need your surgery anymore.
Good.
I mean, I've worked with people with herniated discs from 2,000 miles away, and the disc is healed. I work on back alignment. I have a guy right now, I worked on him and his atlas occiput, which is extremely touchy. I don't know, most people don't even know about that, but it's above your spine, above your vertebrae.
I dislocated mine. I know it only
so
too well.
And it affects your entire body. It affects everything. So I was working on a client about a week and a half ago who had massive headache, massive neck pain, massive stuff down in the shoulder, a weakness, and back was getting out of alignment. And I'm working through the spine, and I'm noticing the left side muscles in his spine were much weaker than the right side muscles in his spine. I said, okay, that's atlas occiput. So I went up, felt into that, and started working with the alignment and the musculature. And when I was done 20 minutes later on that segment, his back was stronger, his neck pain was gone, his headache was gone, all of the stuff that was affecting was fine. So yeah, because I mean, you got to remember, what we are physically is a physical manifestation of something energetic and spiritual. So to work with the spirit, freeing up the stuff in the body, then the body is able to be moved, shifted. Anyway,
I think that we've come to a point in our world where we've recognized Western medicine doesn't always have all the answers, and it's great for emergency repair. If you're having a heart attack, go call 911.
Right.
You have to survive it before you can heal it.
Yes, and if you can take care of it before you have a heart attack, and you work on your heart chakra and what's going on that's energetically causing the heart issues, like, my dad hated his mom. My dad's mom was one of the most manipulative control freaks ever, and dad lived to hate his mother. Now, the heart knows better, right? Dad's heart stopped 13 times in 3 days, and he needed quad bypass surgery at age 62. After that, he and I did some work together. He worked on releasing his stuff about his mom, and lo and behold, he got another 25 years out of his heart that they said would be good for 8 or 10 years. because he worked on it.
So here's the flip side. Since
Yes.
you mentioned people who have issues with people on the other side, do you work with the melding the two of from the heart issues that can be dealt with for people who are carrying guilt or grief or whatever for somebody on the other side?
That's part of the real you conversation,
you-
what I call the real you conversation. The real you conversation allows people to tune into whatever stuff they're carrying. I don't do the bridging between someone on the other side. I don't do the bridge, but when I enable people to break down the walls and the stuff they've been carrying and free themselves up, they're able to more readily connect at their own soul level with the folks on the other side.
Okay, that's the point I wanted to get to.
Yes.
Okay. And it's always good to know, because we all always hear something when we're listening to something like this interview. We have a preconceived idea of our own pain that we're carrying and how somebody like you might fix it. But I think we're moving to that point in our evolution for beingness, that we're moving out of that 3D fear gridlock,
Yep.
you know, it can only happen this way, and that third chakra just throbbing, it's either too big or it's so tight that it doesn't move, or we can move through this hesitancy to see the brighter picture. And that's why I think you're seeing the alignment at Resonant Essentials is like, that gridlock of fear has been released by things that are opening up and moving on. And it's a wonderful place in that experience. I believe that it works energetically with groups. I think it works that way energetically individually. And I believe it works that way energetically between us and Earth. I'm an animist. And as an animist, I know that the building is alive.
Oh, it all has consciousness. I mean,
all
everything,
has
if God is literally God, spirit, creator, whatever, great mystery, whatever you want to call that thing, is in the empty spaces between every subatomic particle that makes up everything in the known universe and beyond. So we're all made of God stuff, and it's all in the oneness. It's about being in the awareness of the oneness that makes it available.
Thank you.
Then the awareness, and the way I refer to it is the awareness that we are, not the awareness that we have.
There you go.
That's where the rubber meets the road.
I love how you talk. I love how you connect. I loved your work and I greatly appreciated it.
Thank you.
There is the opportunity now, because you're on our website.
Yep.
We got Neil and you're up and running, and I believe Lauren's up and running, and we have one more practitioner to go that's going to be up and running.
Awesome. And so I'm going to be doing classes. I've got what I call my level 1 healers class that'll be meeting on 4 Wednesday nights, like every other week through October, November. We'll figure out the dates on that soon. I'll get those to you. But I want people to know that if you do my level 1 healers class, by the time that 4th session is finished, you will actually be doing the work. The requirement at the end of the 4th segment of the class, the 4th module, is that you scan whoever you're with and discern what's up with them and clear it. Both chakra clearing and body work are part of the class. So people are actually able to do the work, and they're freaked out, like, oh my God, I can do this. Because in four 2.5 hour sessions, you literally learn the basics. And that's the beauty of the Healed by Spirit modality. It deals symbolically with things. So it's about noticing what's occurring in you and around you while you're going through these steps I present. And people are literally able to do the healing work afterward.
But for people, what I want to get across is for people who want to make an appointment with you.
Yes.
You have, because yours is a little different than the rest of everybody on the, I want to get this across to people, because we have to set your website up, or your page in the website up, a little differently.
Yes.
You have the first session is for individuals, is a 3 to 4 hour total assessment and a 90. So when they go in and they sign up, and there's a book now for the stuff, but there's a book for
a whole introductory healing package.
Right. So
clicks. Right. So the first one thing I'll do is if someone's got a specific issue they want to work on, uh, there's a 90-minute session. I charge $125 for 90 minutes. If someone wants to do the full-on comprehensive package, there's a 3 to 4 hour segment and a 90-minute segment following up 2 weeks later. That first 3 to 4 hour segment, we have the real you conversation, which gives them the perspective from which to operate in life so that they don't have to continue to accumulate junk in their body and in their mind and in their life. After the real you conversation, then I do chakra clearing and balancing. And then I do body work, because there's no point in doing the body work unless we've done the chakra work first. And
Sure.
there's no point in doing either if you're not in a headspace and a way of being space that prevents future buildup. So not only are people going to get handled, but they're going to get into I'm going to provide them with a structured way of being and looking at things that prevent them from gathering more junk that I need to clear again later.
So,
It's not really great for repeat business per se, but it's great for referrals.
well, let me tell you, we're not in it to have to. We've seen the people who want the repeat.
Right.
Doesn't do any good. I mean,
No.
I tell people this a lot, and I teach this in my classes. If I can get you as a massage therapist, recovering massage therapist, holistic kinesiologist, yada, 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 energy worker, if I can get you to lay down for 30 minutes and take your cell phone away, you are going to feel better anyway.
Exactly.
If that's all you're looking for, go home, put your phone away, and lay down for 30 minutes.
Yeah. But if you want to be done,
If you want
another
something
story.
effective.
Right.
But when they book, there's a little click that they do. It's got a little arrow. It says book now. So they book the session. You have a form that you need to fill out. And then you go to schedule now, and then they pick their time. I want to make that really clear for them, because it's different than booking the 2 other sessions.
Yes. Thank you.
So we want to make sure that that's very clear for them to keep stepping through. If they have a problem with it, they're welcome to call me, and I will step them through the clicking process.
Yes. And if they've got any questions about who I am, what I do, how it's all going to go down, call me and I'll be more than happy.
And the number is on the
I'm
website.
available. The number's on the website. I'm available. And just if people just get in the mood to come in, or they want to meet me, or they want to do some work, anything, I'm there every Wednesday from pretty much 9 in the morning until anywhere from 6 to 9 at night, depending on, what I have scheduled. But feel free to call, come in, drop in, whatever. I just want to meet everybody. I'm still new here, and I'd love to get to know everybody.
Oh, you're going to make me feel guilty about not having a potluck this month.
We'll have one. As a Cajun, I will be in November and December. It's going to be a little colder. I'll be more than happy to make up a big chicken and sausage gumbo that we can serve as part of the potluck.
No flour.
Sorry. If you can't do flour, you can't have my gumbo. You can't make roux without the flour. Sorry.
Cornstarch.
Nah, not in my gumbo. Sorry. I'd love to.
For God's sake, you picky people. That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't need your gumbo.
Yeah. All right. We'll get around to it. I'll see if I can make up a batch of cornstarch. I'll see if I can make I'll see if I can make up a side pot.
I mean, you're the one that told me hiatal hernia and acid reflux, and now you know why.
Yep. So, but again, if we take care of the energetic residue that's contributing to that still existing, yeah, maybe you don't have to worry about it.
We'll definitely work on it.
We'll work on it. That's the advantage of being on site all the time. We get to work on it anytime you'd like.
There you go. All right. So let me check to see if there's any questions. Here we got Oriana.
Hi, Oriana. Thank you.
Yes, Oriana is a dear, beautiful spirit. I've known her since she ran around with my daughter as teenagers.
Wow, cool.
I'm going to read this to you, so I want you to address it. I've recently beat stage 3 breast cancer, early stage gastric cancer with a total gastrectomy performed on the 5th of September. She would be interested in understanding in depth if she manifested disease from my own growth as a healer, or is this karmic? If I feel up to it physically, I'd love to have a conversation to discuss it. If I can pop by. Thank you.
Yes. Just give me a call and we'll schedule a time and we'll make it happen.
Okay, Oriana. go to the website. Also know that Brian is totally understanding if you're not able to pop in, if you
Yeah,
know.
if we need to do it by phone or text message or whatever. I mean, it's a lot easier to have a conversation than to try and text it or email it or whatever. I'm much more of a fan of connecting and making it easy to say what needs to be said. We can thumb it out on a phone, but it's a lot easier just to speak, either in
Yeah,
person
I
or
think
by
what-
phone is fine.
And I think that she's open to either one of those.
Cool.
She's such a beautiful spirit, and she is working her healing path. So my heart
Yes,
is yours, Oriana. I love you.
we will sweep the energetic sidewalk clear for you to walk. How's that?
There you go. There you go. So reach out, contact him. Brian, it is always a delight to talk with you. I know we've got some great
Thank you.
in the works. We're going to get together for so much and see what we're doing. Let me make sure that there is no other questions. And no, there's not. So we will end today. I'll see you Sunday.
Absolutely. See you Sunday at the
Saturday,
fair.
Saturday later evening, and look for your name on the table.
Got it. Awesome.
Don't
I'll
throw
see you
your
then.
name away. Don't throw the name away.
I will not. It's all good. Thank you.
That's why I keep bringing people back. It's the invitation. When I have your name on a piece of paper for your table, that's the invitation for the energy to come back.
Got it. I'll make sure it stays.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. Talk to you soon.
Take care. Bye.
Bye, guys.